In this video series, we called into question conventional wisdom about childhood and about child rights. We saw that differences between age groups are not simply natural and universal. Instead, they are largely the result of social and legal factors. And this also means that these differences could diminish if people weren't treated differently based on their age. Then we looked at laws and policies that supposedly protect the young people we call children. And we saw that these laws and policies often harm people of all ages, especially those from disadvantaged and disempowered groups. Finally, we focused on the legal principle known as the child's right to be heard. And we saw how it enables adults to ignore the wishes and opinions of youngsters. Our focus in this video is on the legal restriction of child work. It illustrates all of the problems we've discussed so far. In recent history, the law has increasingly pushed under 18s outside the world of paid work. International law now generally prohibits employing anyone below the age of 15, with only very limited exceptions. Older children are only legally allowed to work for a limited number of hours, and only if their work isn't regarded as interfering with their education or their development. But the heavy legal restriction of child work has faced criticism from scholars and young workers alike. They argue that people of all ages should be given the right to dignified work. They add that non-exploitative work can equip youngsters with valuable skills, knowledge, income, and self-esteem. Work and education are also not necessarily mutually exclusive. On the one hand, work experience can have educational value. And on the other hand, schools don't always provide quality education. Some young workers cannot afford to go to school unless they work to generate additional income. On top of all of this, the legal ban on child labor is often driven by inaccurate data and market interests. And it can also often end up pushing the young workers it seeks to protect into worse forms of work or entirely depriving them of crucial income. Not enough attention is paid to the socio-economic reasons that drove them to work in the first place. Here's one example. In the 1990s, the United States considered banning the import of garments made with the involvement of workers aged under 15. It cited precisely the same international legal standards we've mentioned. Since the United States was the largest importer from Bangladesh, Bangladeshi garment manufacturers dismissed workers they thought were younger than 15. But contrary to what US advocates of the ban had predicted, these children didn't end up in school. Instead, they moved from employment in garment factories, which was relatively safe and well paid, into other forms of work which paid less and were more dangerous. So the subject of child work illustrates the issues we've highlighted throughout this video series. It shows again how social norms regarding childhood vary over time and place. And it illustrates again how these norms often harm the youngsters they claim to protect while ignoring their own views and wishes. I hope you found this video series interesting. We should keep questioning our preconceptions about childhood, especially if we want to help youngsters fulfill their full potential.